Charles Dickens, Chapter 29, Tinker in Love. They walked home in near silence, with Charlie chirping every few minutes, but all he got from Tinker was a mumbled response. He was right next to him, but he may as well have been a million miles away. Charlie didn't know what to do. The last thing that he wanted to do was to have an argument. Finally, the silence was broken like a spell. "I know what you're thinking," said Tinker. "Why am I not talking?" he said in a way of explanation. Charlie nodded, feeling a flush of nerves. "I'm in love," said Tinker, with a grand wave of his hand. Charlie had heard of people being in love, but he wasn't sure what it meant, and his brow crumpled like a concertina with puzzlement. Tinker laughed, and he knew that he had some explaining to do. "You know when you get that lovely sweet feeling when you eat your favorite ice cream, and it makes you happy," he explained patiently. "Well, this is like that," he said with a huge grin, "but 100 times more sweet and lovely," he added breathlessly. His eyes were shining, and he had never seemed looked so happy, thought Charlie in wonder. It was amusing, but it was always also frightening to him. He didn't want to lose Tinker's friendship. Tinker was all he had, and Charlie was finding all of the silences difficult to cope with, and he could feel himself drifting away, and before he knew it, he was back in his costume, and he was shooting his webbing at everything in sight. A rabbit gave him a quizzical look, and then it scarpered, narrowly avoiding being mummified in spiders' webs. Charlie looked up at the tallest trees, and he thought about shooting a beam of webbing. An aeroplane passed overhead, and it disturbed his daydream. Charlie looked up, and he saw that they were near the end of the woods, and he could see the chimney tops in the distance, and he knew that he was nearly home. It was a great relief. Spider-Man had disappeared, and Charlie was back walking once again in uncomfortable silence. They got to the crossroads, and it was time to go their separate ways, and Charlie looked into Tinker's eyes, and it was as if he was under some mysterious spell. Finally, Tinker spoke up. "I may be busy tomorrow," he said. "I have to see Anne and tell her how I feel," he said earnestly. Charlie was puzzled, and he felt deflated as Tinker patted him on the shoulder like a dog, and he walked off into the distance like a mirage.